Hi Gregor, how's it going?
Very well, Andy. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Let's get straight to it. I'm sure you know the selection we're all keen to hear about. Blair Kinghorn starts at 10 instead of Finn Russell. Can you just explain your thinking with that one?
Yeah, well, we see it's a really good opportunity for Blair. He's been on real good form. He wasn't available for our match last week. The week before that, he played his best game of the season against Connacht. And he's came on twice off the bench and shown what he can do in that jersey. He obviously had started for us before this season against Tonga, where he played really well. He's built on that performance. So we believe this is the right time, the right game for him to play.
How has Finn Russell reacted to the news, Gregor? Obviously, he would want to play every game and start every game from Scotland. How did that conversation go?
Yeah, okay, yeah, fine. Like any conversation that you give someone news that they're not starting, they're initially disappointed, but they support the team. They supports Finn will support Blair, and he'll support the rest, and he has done this week.
Thanks, Gregor.
Gregor, what has Finn not done this year that has seen him drop out of your starting team?
Yeah, look, I'd prefer to focus on what Blair has done and how well he's played and how he's deserved this opportunity, which he certainly has with his performances throughout the season.
Would you accept that it's a risk taking someone of Finn's calibre out of the starting 15 and going to a place like Dublin where Ireland have been so strong?
Yeah, every selection is an opportunity. There's no exact science behind selection. It's about giving players opportunity and what you feel is right, and that's based on what you've seen from players in training and games. The opposition is coming up, and we know Blair has done really well and has earned this opportunity, and also with how we're looking to play the game and Blair's strengths. And Johnny Gray's back in as well.
Next question from Julian from the AFP, please.
Yeah. Hello, Gregor. You say you're looking to play this game to Blair's strengths. What are those strengths would you play as a fly half?
Yeah, he's a very good passer of the ball. He's an excellent runner. He's a long kicking game. And he moves well between phases. So I'll leave it just like that. But I suppose that's how I'd best describe it. But he senses where the space might appear in the defence very well.
And can I just ask you, it's difficult to assess when they're playing against 14, but what have you made of Ireland, both against England and more generally in the Championship?
Yeah, very, very good. They were coming into this Championship in real form. They play ambitious rugby, and they've continued to play ambitious rugby. They've always been very strong around the contact area, the set piece. And now with this ambitious game plan, they can test teams in the wider areas. So yeah, it's what we'd seen of them prior to the Championship, and they've been competitive in every game. Even the game against France, they could have won that going into that last 5 minutes.
Next question from Keith Downey, please.
Hi Gregor. Yeah, Blair's obviously got caps in a different position. How much of a step up is it for him to come in a match of this magnitude and come in and play 10?
Yeah, well, he's played 10 all season. Played 10 for us this season. Started against Tonga and came off the bench in 2 games. So yeah, it's his natural position based on this season.
And does the selection for this game show that nobody's place is safe in your lineup?
Well, that's for obviously you guys to write about. The selection is an opportunity for those that are given that honour and privilege, and like any game, you put a lot of thought into it, and you put the team out you believe, or we believe, is going to give us best chance of winning. There's no more than that.
Next question from Miles Harrison, please.
Hi, Greg. Can I just ask you about Johnny Gray then in the second.
Excellent.
What does he
Thank
bring?
you, man.
I'll set him up. You just head him in at the far post. No. Look, what does he bring to the team? Is he nice and fresh and ready to go? Where's he at the moment?
Yeah, he's in a really good place. Last week he was with us for the training session. Exeter kindly allowed him to train with us. We both knew he wouldn't be available for Italy, but he continued his rehab and got some contact. And on Thursday, he went back down to Exeter on the Friday, had another session with them, and he's been fully fit and physical in our sessions this week. So he brings physicality, he brings huge work rate defensively, and support the ball carrier in contact and carry himself. So those are the areas what we need to do well this weekend if we're going to be in a position to win.
And as my follow-up, can I ask you one about the bench and the two Bens, White coming in for Velikot? I mean, both have shown what they can do. Velikot, when he came on at the weekend, was buzzing around and looking, as if he was offering an awful lot. In that respect, because he was there last, it's a bit tough on him maybe, but, tight core.
Yeah, I know it was tough on Ben White going into Italy because Ben White's done really well for us and had longer off the bench. He's earned those minutes. Ben Velikot was unlucky at the weekend. The bench were due to come on, I think, with about 10 minutes to go, which I'm sure they would say wasn't even enough time. But we were delayed 4 or 5 minutes because we're defending on our goal line. There was a few stoppages. But when he did come on, he did well. There's no denying that. He brought energy. We just feel the game this weekend will suit Ben's strengths more. He's a very good defender, very good kicker. And we see Ireland putting pressure on us, or the way they play will mean that we'll have to manage the game really well. Something that Ben White has done really well for us this season.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you. If we can now move on to the written section.
Gregor, it could be construed as a brave decision to play Blair. Why now? You could have easily have just kept Finn, just ended the Six Nations and on we go.
Yeah, we believe it's the right time. The right time for the team and for Blair. He reminded us a couple of weeks ago of what he can do against Connacht. He came off the bench, did really well against Wales. France, we were chasing the game too much, so that wasn't as good. But going back and playing that game showed what he can do, and we believe this is the right time to see him in this in a Six Nations game starting at 10.
Would you have started him at 10 against Italy if you hadn't missed it for personal reasons? Would that have been your plan?
If my auntie had, no, I won't go there. That's very hypothetical, Rob, so I can't answer that.
Okay, fair enough. Cheers, Greg. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah. Who will be your goal kicker?
Blair.
Do his stats justify that, do you think?
What's that, sorry?
Do his stats throughout the season, kicking for Edinburgh, sort of justify that responsibility?
Yeah, he's not really kicked much for Edinburgh. He's kicked very well since he's got back to full fitness, working closely with Chris Patterson. He's not had the opportunity to kick for Edinburgh because Bofelli has kicked really well, but Finn obviously doesn't kick for his club and has kicked well for us, so we back both of them to step up when we're called on.
Gregor, I mean, you're making clear that this selection of Blair at 10 is meritorious. How much, though, have you yourself wanted to see him tested at the highest level, which this obviously is, playing position?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd phrase it about wanting to see him tested. I look at it more of what can he do to help us win, and the more I've seen him play and train, the more encouraged I am with him in that role. And there's a lot more to come from him. We want to encourage his running game more. He's such a threat with ball in hand, and he's such a good passer that sometimes he gets a balance too much on passing rather than running. But I felt the last game he played against Connacht, he did that really well. He was a threat himself. He put others in space, and he kicked well too. So you've got to reward that if you feel it's going to help the team this week. And and we're obviously very aware that we've got someone of real experience on the bench who can add to our game or change our game or do what's right if he's called on.
Also, just as an ad, Blair's 25 now. Why is it taking so long to get him to 10 if that's his best position?
Well, he obviously, for us, he has to be playing there more regularly. And that's happened this year. There were 2 games at the end of last season. He played at 10 for Edinburgh. And we felt he went well in those games. One of them was away to the Dragons. They showed some really good, either Dragons or Cardiff, can't remember. But he showed some really good promise here. He was going to play in the summer at 10. We were going to give him those opportunities in our summer tests. And fortunately for us, Mike Blair also sees him as a 10. And look, I know people on this call might not see Blair as a 10 because they've not seen him much as a 10. But if a team has gone from scoring hardly any tries and certainly not recorded bonus points to regularly scoring tries and winning games, then a lot of that's down to your 10 and what he's doing to put others into space, to make the attack function well. So Blair should take massive credit for that. And he's learning all the time. He's been really diligent since he's been in that position. I obviously get regular feedback from Mike on how he's preparing for games. And he's getting more confident of being in that position. And you saw that the way he played against Connacht.
Gregor, when you did the big reveal on Monday or Tuesday to the players, can you say what Blair's reaction was? Was he surprised, elated? How'd it go?
He just seemed to say, okay, yeah, thanks. I can't really remember, to be honest. We had a walkthrough, and then I spoke to Blair after that. And it wasn't until Tuesday, I think, we announced the team, but I wasn't particularly looking for his reaction, Alistair, so I can't really comment on it.
Yeah, I mean, how long have you looked at him as a 10? You know, we've seen him at Edinburgh for the past, 7 years or something, playing in the back 3, and it's only in the past 12 months. How long have you thought that's a 10 in the making?
Not only really the last year. I think the move to playing there at the end of last season, when Edinburgh started to open up their game much more, that gave me encouragement. The game has also changed too. Like for me, that position is now about someone who can run with the ball, pass with the ball, rather than where it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where it was more what they did, kicking. Kicking now is about attacking kicks as well as putting pressure on teams. And you see the best 10s in the world being able to do that. And we're fortunate we have more than just Blair, obviously, but Blair's strengths are more suited to the position now. Possibly his age, his maturity, that he's better at being in that position, a position where you're going to make more mistakes and there's going to be external, internal pressure on you. And he's handled that really well. He was a 10 all throughout his career as well until he got moved to 15, and then he's been a very good wing for us. So it's a really, what's the word I'm looking for, impressive and valuable asset for the team that he's able to play more than one position. But certainly this year.
Next question from David at the Irish Independent, please.
Hi, sorry, I was coughing there. I didn't realise I was unmuted. Hi, Gregor. Just in terms of your previous defeats to Ireland, as you look ahead to this weekend, has there been a constant theme running through them? And if so, is there one aspect in particular that you need to get right at this weekend?
I'm not sure if there's a constant theme. There's a constant theme on how the opposition play. The constant theme would be they've scored more points than us. We've always had a couple of close games the last 2 Six Nations. We'll look at opportunities that we didn't take. I think last year was slightly different in that we couldn't get much possession. Ireland were excellent at line out, won a lot of their kicks back. but the previous season in Dublin, it was a different game. So no, I don't. Every game is different, but Ireland will pose similar threats, and then the areas that they've always been strong, the contact, the ability to keep going through phases, their set piece, their kicking game, and obviously their individuals they have in the team. But I think even more now with this ambitious way of playing, that gives more threats to our defence, or more opportunities depending how well we defend.
And if we can move on to the last few questions, starting with David and then finishing with Graham. Thank you.
Hi, Gregor. I take your point that Blair's earned the right, but there's a perception that Finn's not hitting his best form at the moment. Do you agree with that? Do you see that, and is it a concern if that's the case?
Look, players' form goes up and down. It's and teams' form goes up and down. So it's a lot of it is circumstances. That were you able to get into the game? Were you able to bring your strengths out because it was that type of game? So no, that doesn't concern me. I think what we see in training is the consistent ability of our players. In this case, Finn, and how well he trains. So if you're diligent, professional, then you'll get your rewards for that, even if one game or one aspect of the game doesn't go as well for you.
Thanks, Gregor.
Gregor, just kind of speaking generally, how much will the outcome or even the performance of Saturday influence how you come to view this campaign overall?
Yeah, the 80 minutes obviously will be a fifth of the championship, and it'll be fresh in our minds. So of course it'll be part of our assessment of where we are, what we need to do, how we need to improve as we go into the summer and the following season, and also the test that we've got playing Ireland and Dublin when they're going for the Triple Crown, when they're in such good form. They've only lost one game this year, and that was away to France in a close defeat. So not just this year, but this season. So they're a top side, and if we are able to perform well against Ireland, if we're able to come away with a victory, then obviously it's going to be a better championship than it has been so far.